You're now listening to From the Jump.
Welcome to From the Jump, your source for all things hip-hop. I'm Syllable. This is my co-host,
Mr. White.
Make sure you subscribe and leave a comment below saying, I subscribed, and we'll try our best to reply to your comment. And today, we're going to be talking about Pete Rock's recent blast on social media, where he said that drill music is poo-poo. Harsh words.
Definitely.
This is what Pete Rock actually said. You know, he shared a video of New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who spoke against drill rap, connecting that with the uptick of violent crime in the city. Pete Rock said, "Good morning, drill rap. That's trash hop, not hip hop. I've been told y'all about this kind of shit. I don't care. Call me what you want. But that kind of hip hop is doo-doo and it disrupts the soul. I told y'all about that already, man. Nobody speaks up on this trash. Drill rap, not even for the birds or the streets. It's a result of greed, people with no talent, and the destruction of the culture. Y'all never see the play when it's happening, and everyone complains, but does not speak up and say a word. Now this is how we going now? It's on social media, but who is really promoting this? Talk about that, SMH. So that's what Pete Rock says about drill music. Mm-hmm. Now, you're from the Chicago area. What are your first thoughts on that?
I'm going to agree with the aspect that it isn't the best thing that's come out of hip-hop, right? We have a lot of great things that have come out of hip-hop. But drill music is definitely a resurgence of classic gangster rap or trap rap or whatever you want to call it at this point. It's just artists that come from that environment that are talking about their experiences. And unfortunately, what I truly believe is that we have an industry that's putting money behind that.
Yeah. And
drill rap is not responsible for their own trash in a sense. They're good artists in drill, right? We've talked about that. Like we talk about Lil Durk. Lil Durk is a great artist.
I really like Lil Durk.
We could talk about King Von or Pop Smoke, who are, both rest in peace, but they were both really good artists.
Yeah.
Like they could have had great careers.
Well, I'll say I like all of those artists better than Chief Keef, which I feel like
Chief Keef
barely had talent with that and how he came across, and it was all just this emotionless, joyless, murder music, which I can take in doses. It's dope to some extent, but it's monotonous. Just like I felt like Youngboy NBA's album was monotonous when it just kept going over the same lines about shooting people in the streets. It's like, what can we get beyond that? And that's why I like Lil Durk. Lil Durk has a variety of flows.
Yes.
He's able to variate some of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Even Chef G, right? And so I appreciate your comment on the fact that you said it's brought real rapping back, not just the mumble shit.
Yes.
Right? Actual rapping, because when Chef G raps, he's going off.
Yes. And he's only talking about what he knows, right? I think that it's hard to expect these young people who are coming from these environments to have, what Pete Rock may consider a more polished talent, right? Like, they're not polished people, right?
Yeah.
It's like the expectation is a little too high. But I also think, like, right now, him coming out and saying that is good, right? It's good that he's saying that, but I don't think it's I feel like it's a repetitive argument. People have been saying this about gangster rap music, because I'm just gonna call it gangster rap. That's what it is.
Yeah, but I would say drill rap is different in the fact that gangster rap has elements of flossing and stuff, where drill rap, there's not a lot of flossing. A lot of that is really, the flossing is, I'm going to kill you. I've already killed your friend here on this block or this area, right? There's not a lot of metaphors or punchlines using that. Gangster rap has some metaphors and punchlines in it, right? Like, drill rap is its own beast. And in that sense, I feel like because it lacks that diversity that gangster rap does have, right? It is more likely to cause shit, right, to happen, because it's egging stuff that's already going on. But then at the same time, how can they be inauthentic and not rap about what they know, which is the block wars in Chicago?
Yes, and I think we have to just go back to the root of the problem. Why are
white people?
Sure, why not? But I'm just saying that we oftentimes get caught up in what these kids are doing versus what's going on to make them do that. Why do they feel compelled to follow somebody like a Chief Keef, right? Because a lot of these artists did idolize Chief Keef. Like, he's considered one of the biggest influencers in music, although, like, as far as, like, actually being a charting artist still and being relevant.
Right.
He's kind of not there anymore, right? He kind of lost that in the first 5 years, right? But people in this age, the young people who are coming up listening to rap, will always shout him out as an influence.
Right.
And it's like, why are they drawn to that? What is the energy being given out in these environments that's allowing them to say, this makes more sense than going like towards a Lupe or a Kanye or a Cole or these other artists, Kendrick.
Well, speaking of Lupe Fiasco, he said that Chief Keef just scares him after they got into a Twitter battle. This is like 2012 era, right? Lupe even said, you know what, this may be my last album. I may not be able to produce music anymore or make music, because he was that scared and also heartbroken about the violence in the streets and what Chief Keef represented.
And I specifically brought up Lupe for that reason, because he's somebody from the same environment, right?
Yeah.
He's from the hood of Chicago.
Totally different outtake.
But he's not talking about, he talks about it, but he talks about it in an introspective way. Yeah. But that's not really who he is, right? Like, his music has never been about gang banging and killing and all of that. It's definitely more of, I don't want to be that type of person. I want to put that energy out in the world. Yeah. So why would I even do that? But it's like, nowadays you see a lot of these younger artists embracing that, right? And the other part I would agree with Pete Rock on is, it is a cash grab. Yeah. It is a cash grab. It's basically, but these kids aren't giving the money to themselves, right? Right. That's why I say you got to follow the money trail sometimes. Yeah. And the breadcrumb says that there's a white man somewhere who's like, oh, these ignorant kids are into this shit. Let's fucking pump money into it. And you know, we were watching that video with Chef G, and it's like, these kids are riding in fucking Maybachs and Bentleys and shit. That money isn't theirs, right? Yeah. That money's coming from somebody else to help them look cool, right? And so now I think the kids are enamored with the shit, because they're like, oh, I can have all this money if I live this street life. Yeah. And it's like, that's not likely. It's not likely.
So I like what you were talking about before, when you're saying, instead of just demonizing these artists for rapping about what they know, which is the block wars in Chicago and the shit that's been going on since Larry went to jail, when they lost that leadership. They lost that leadership. Absolutely. And now they're just going like amnesia, right? It's just all they remember is the violence from yesterday, perpetuating it to the next day, right? Mm-hmm. So Pete Rock, instead of just saying this is poo-poo music, why don't we address the causes? Why is this still perpetuating? Why hasn't this been solved? You know, Drake has said some shit like, where he's like, well, Chief Keef is good in the sense for the murder rates in Chicago, and the fact that he drew attention from the outside world who may not have known what was going on in Chicago. Definitely. I went to Chicago. I didn't see that shit, right? No. That wasn't my experience, right? You don't. You can go to New York, you can go to Chicago, you can go to LA, have a great time downtown, and never see what it's like in a Compton or in one of the boroughs of New York or on the South Side. You don't see that shit, right? Like, a tourist doesn't experience that unless they wander into that. But most people are smart enough to know, you go to those places, you don't ride the green line
across the tracks. You don't ride the green line. You don't do it, right? And so it's like, I look at it like, we do need to highlight the stuff, but it's how we highlight it, and it's also
something's not being done.
Look
at what's happened. Okay, so Drake,
why is the problem getting worse?
Yeah,
right?
Drake said that about great is that Chief Keef is drawing attention to this shit, but what's happened since then? Yeah, not enough.
Not enough.
And it's still going on. What do you guys think about Pete Rock's comment on drill music being trash? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Why or why not? Comment below, and let's talk about violence in hip hop. Let's talk about what we can do to solve the systemic issues that these lyrics point to, not just the artists themselves. So please comment below on your opinion on that. Like and subscribe. Tune in for another episode of From the Jump.
Peace.